Back again.
Where are we?
We ended up in some unknown place.
Where's my liver? Why is this note saying call 911? Why am I in a tub?
I don't know.
And why does Milca look scared?
I don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on most of the time.
Our plan is working perfectly.
Right out.
I'm at a loss of words.
Let's go. Cheers.
Oh,
That was good.
tip touch.
What is up, guys? It's once again another episode of the Tip Touch Podcast. I'm Eduardo, and I'm here with my co-host, Brett Otto. Now, today, we have a very special guest, and I can say that it was like we're hearing her through word of mouth, but social media-wise. One day, I was looking for a barber, right? And, of course, I'm just scrolling through, just checking out different barber spots, and her barbershop came up, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. And noticed there was an Instagram link, went there and saw just a ton of good work. And it's honestly, I'm picky when I go to my barbershop. It's like super picky. So I was like, I don't know. I want to see if I go or what, let's do it. Make sure. So I think I scheduled an appointment because that's how we're doing it nowadays, by appointments, which we'll get into because that's another something I want to talk about and ask her to see. That's where it's going to. But anyways, we have a very special guest, Trippy Barber on Instagram. Woo! Milca.
Wow.
Hello.
Wow. Trippy Barber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to know right off the bat, like, what is most barbers I know just by their name. Like, hey, my name's Alicia. Trippy Barber, what's that?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit about my personality mainly. I like to consider my minds kind of trippy in a way. I like drawing a lot. So I'm the kind of person that doesn't really express the way they feel by talking. I've always done it by drawing.
So it's perfect that we're doing a podcast where we're talking for an hour. This is perfect.
Something different, right? Something different.
Usually, when I'm trying to like make it short and sweet, I just tell them it's because I trip people out with my skills.
I like it. And so you said you're a drawer, an artist.
Yeah.
Is this your art?
Yeah, that is my art
Wow.
right there.
Wow. And are you selling that?
I do have some for sale, hopefully in December. So I'm trying to get some before Christmas, but I do sell the t-shirts.
I was actually trying to get us a couple shirts to wear for today, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sold out." But it just shows that they're sold out.
I
So
know.
hey,
That's
it's good. It's good
That's
stuff,
good.
right? So that's what I'm saying.
And for the listeners, what we're talking about, anybody who is listening to us right now, we're on Spotify, we're on TuneIn, and we're getting the podcast out there one by one.
YouTube.
YouTube, we're trying to get on iTunes, all that fun stuff. Yes, we're already on. We're talking about a shirt. There's a t-shirt with it looks like a zombie. You might have to explain. She's like a zombie chick with red hair. She's got the barber, what do you call it? The
Clippers?
Clippers,
yes. Yeah.
So it's just, it's me, obviously, red hair. And it's just a clipper coming out of the mouth because, I don't know, it's just something I came up with. I feel like my work speaks. So.
I love it. And, I did. So, in researching for this a little bit, I went to your Instagram page and I saw, in fact, I felt a little insecure coming in with my basic haircut, like I won't tell you where I go.
Hair Masters. No offense to Hair Masters.
Whoa! Oh, shade. So much shade.
Hey, it's all love. I've gone there before, man. No shame.
Yeah. It wasn't Hair Masters, by the way.
Super clips. What do they call that?
Yeah, but that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference between a basic haircut and then someone who's coming in. Like if you go to your Instagram page is Trippy Barber, right?
Yes.
And you're seriously, it's crazy, and that's where it's awesome actually, because it seems like we're in this era now where a lot of people aren't afraid to be their own self now. Back in the day, remember, maybe you're too young to remember, but it used to be everybody just had the same haircut, everybody did the same thing.
Yeah.
But and then all of a sudden the '90s came and Justin Timberlake came, and people were like, oh, I want to dye my hair.
Yeah.
I want my hair to look
Yeah.
like Top Ramen. And so everybody was doing the Top Ramen hair for a while.
Yeah.
But now we're in this new thing where now everybody's just kind of spread out, and then you guys barbers really have their own culture.
For sure.
And
We
just
really
tell
do.
us a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up watching my mom doing hair. So she's a cosmetologist. And then I started getting interested in hair when I was about 13. So that's when I began doing hair. But I started off doing women's hair and then got into men's hair once I turned 18. I didn't really know how big the barber industry was until about like 2 years ago. It's like, it's its own thing. Like it's its own culture, I believe.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot bigger than a lot of people could even imagine. Like all the opportunities that you have in the barber industry is insane. It's not just about cutting hair, and that's what a lot of people don't understand.
What is it about?
Well, it's about networking. It's about meeting people with different levels of skills. Like there's things that other barbers do that I could never do, or not never do, but I could have never imagined myself doing something like that. There's opportunities like being sponsored. It's like a sport kind of, like they even have barber battles. Like I do a lot of those. So you get sponsored when companies see, your level of skill, who you are, and they hire you to like be the face of a brand. They hire you to go and teach classes in other states. They pay for your flight, they pay for your hotel, they give you money on top of that. So like, there's a lot of opportunity.
There was
sure.
one competition that you had done. I want to say it was recent, where you got number 2. You were just right there. Tell us about that.
That's a little tough one. I mean, that was in Vegas, so
Woo, Sin City.
Yeah.
a lot of people from around the U.S. go and compete to this Vegas barber battle. I competed in the lady battle category.
Yes, yep.
It was against 30 other lady barbers.
Across the United States.
Yep, across the U.S.
That's so awesome, though, man.
Dude.
Second place, though, that's a lot. That says a lot itself.
I mean, honestly, I didn't even think I was going to place. Like,
Really?
I went so unprepared. Like, I was so
No kidding.
unprepared when I went. Like, there was a lot of things that I was missing. Like, as soon as I got on stage to, like, set up, I opened up my briefcase, and there was, like, a couple things that I needed to, like, cut hair. And I was already telling my husband, he was my model, I was like, let's just get off. Like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Really?
I forgot all, like, this, and that. Like, I don't even have time to go look for someone to let me borrow something. Like, I was just already all negative. He's like, no, just do it. Like, just stay up here. We're already here. Like, just go for it. And I was like, all right, I'm just there cutting his hair. They gave us, like, 35 minutes to do a haircut, best fade we could do.
Yeah.
And I did it despite, missing certain things that I had to have to, that I felt like I had to have apparently, because I ended up taking second.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats on that.
It was pretty tough for me, honestly. Like, as soon as I heard my name and they called me second, I was like, wait, what? Like, I played? I don't know.
Wow,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. And that's also, I love your message there too, that, you could have, maybe a lot of people would have quit in that,
Yeah.
because you're up there, you don't want to look like an idiot, and sometimes it's better just to, walk away, or it feels better to walk away than to humiliate yourself, and yet you still punch through that.
That shows a lot of character too, man. And you just always think
Absolutely.
to yourself, imagine if you were just focused, you had everything ready, like no doubt you would have placed first. I would think so,
Yeah.
man, because that just shows a lot. Like the mentality wasn't there, and when your mind isn't there 100%.
Yep.
But she did a thing, and I
Man.
just do it, and that's no. Congrats on that. That shows a lot for sure.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And so now we're at your shop, which is called the Maine
Barbers.
The Maine Barber Society.
Thank you. The Maine. Yeah, I was going to say the Main Street, but
Come on, Brett.
yeah, suck. But anyway, yeah. So that's great, and we're here in Everett, Washington. Everett has grown over the past few years, so you're kind of riding right on the wave there. So good job on seizing that, and. Yeah, no, it's fun. Also, you as an entrepreneur, you're young. I mean, this is your own building, right?
Yeah. Well, not the building. It's just the business itself.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The business is what I meant. But so when did you first start becoming your own boss?
Well, it was about like 3 years ago. So like 22. Yeah.
22.
So that was literally right after I got my barber's license. So for a little while, I was actually working unlicensed, which I shouldn't have been doing. But
You didn't hear that. We didn't hear that. We're going to crop that out.
but I mean,
But wait a minute. When you're working unlicensed, I mean, you're cutting hair, right?
Yeah.
So I would go to someone unlicensed to cut my hair.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any papers?
I mean,
I
like
don't ever look for papers.
it's what the state requires, So
Government.
right, trying to take our money. But yeah, so I was actually working at my mom's salon. She had a salon in Monroe. So I was working for her for a little while until she decided she didn't want to own the business anymore. And well, I didn't want to stay out there because I was like, how's the business going to grow out there? There's not really much out there.
Right.
So I went to school, got my license a year later, like when I was 21, and then got my license when I was 22, saved for about 6 months, and then here we are.
Just did it. That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, seriously, because there's a lot of people out there that when you look at school, you're going to school, there's a lot of people that I think school just teaches you how to be an employee. They don't teach you any entrepreneurial skills,
No.
And so a lot of everything that you've learned as an entrepreneur, you've learned it on your own, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of crazy stuff that I've done that I just didn't know. Like the first year of my taxes, I was like, what am I doing?
That's the
I
one
walked
thing.
in and I was like, so what do I do? And they're like, what do you mean? You don't know what you got to do? I was like, no.
Okay.
Like, tell me.
That's great. So if somebody is looking at starting their own gig, maybe they're graduating from cosmetology school and they want to follow in your footsteps, what are some main mistakes that you made that if you could go back or kind of mentor somebody, what would you suggest? Taxes, obviously.
Definitely taxes. Looking into like payroll or, booth renters, or looking into, what was it?
The networking. I'm sure that's a huge part of it. Where, like you were talking about how it seems like there's more camaraderie than competition, like friendly competition, right? But is there any type of like backstabbery that goes on?
Oh, tons. There's a lot. There's a lot of
So there's a lot of. So you could say it's fair to say there's a lot of just heavy competition, or is it like you were saying? Was it more friendly, or is it more like, hey, I'm going to see your clients and they're going to come to me?
It's not even about the clients. It's just it's. Like most of the people are very friendly when they don't place, they're okay with it. Mm-hmm. They keep going back. Sometimes you place, sometimes you don't, and it's happened to me. I don't always place. But then there's people that, when they see you beat them, then there's some talking that goes around,
Does it get down like on some Mean Girl stuff?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It really is. It's kind of like high school, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So the ones that do, say some things, it's definitely like high school for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I want to go back to when you were talking about school, how you were saying that high school pretty much trains you to be an employee or, transitions you to be an employee. We had a little small conversation off air when I was getting a haircut one time that you said going to an alternative school was way better for you and you felt like, learning to be, they treated you more of an adult than just a student. So, and I feel like it played an important role for you to kind of get that mindset, like, I'm going to grind and actually, do my work. And, I'm not going to go to school, but I'm going to do my work and then get my GED or, graduate.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Aces High School, not because I was a bad kid, but because I wasn't showing up to class. Like, I originally was going to Mariner. I wasn't showing up to class, wasn't doing my work. So, I mean, my credits weren't that great. Yeah. And then they're like, well, you got to catch up, so we're going to send you to Aces. So I was like, all right. So I go out there, and I saw that, the teachers kind of treated you like it was a college,
Wow.
Like, they didn't actually call your parents when you didn't show up. They didn't actually say anything when you didn't do your work. They just they would let you wear pajamas to school. They would let you wear whatever. They'd let you eat in class. They'd let you have your cell phones out. So it was a little different, from what I was used to. And there was times where they would be like, oh, I haven't seen you in class for a little while. I'm like, oh, yeah, I thought they would say something, but no, they wouldn't say anything. And they'd pretty much just be like, well, if you want to work at McDonald's for the rest of your life, that's up to you. Yeah. I was just like, well, not really. And nothing's wrong with that, but, it's like, it's not necessarily something that pays very well. Yeah, right. We all know that. So, I was just like, okay, no, I do want to get paid good. And she would always make it seem like, you don't have to go to college, but you got to graduate. You gotta get that paper. And they'd always tell me too, you've made it this far, why quit now? And they're right.
Yeah. Wow. So do you feel like that was a key role to put you into what you're doing it now? Now that you look back at it, when you look back at that?
I say it helped. It helped not getting treated like a kid, for sure. So that just kind of, I was just like, wait, why are they not saying anything? That just made me wonder, Wow. It's like when your parent tells you not to do something, you want to do it more.
Yeah.
But it's like when they weren't telling me to do anything, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive though.
Yeah.
Where you go in and, you need more guidance or whatever, and you would think they'd just be hovering over you like a micromanager. So that's awesome though. And that kind of reminds me of, and Eddie and I have talked about it, there was a documentary that takes place in Washington. They filmed it in a school in Washington, and I want to say it sounded like Aces, something like that, but it's called Paper Tiger. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Yeah, it was just very similar to what you were talking about, where there's an alternative school, but it takes these kids that come from troubled backgrounds or whatever that aren't the regular high school is just not the environment for them. And so they talk about taking these kids, and that's their second chance. One of my best friends growing up, he didn't even get past the 9th grade, and it was crazy to me because I said, you are one of the smartest people I know, but when that controlled setting that school is in, I have a real problem with it because it's just one way. There's only one way to go. And now that we're having different types of schools out there, it seems like people are finally catching on that there's more than one way to learn.
Yeah.
But he, I just talked to him the other day, and he's got 3 cars, his own house, and he's just telling me all these things that he has, and he started his own business. He just said, you know what? I cannot be an employee for somebody else.
That was me. That was definitely me. I always tell people, I know my boss was my mom, but I was like, no, there's no way.
Yeah. What is that? Because so many people, they don't mind coming to work, and maybe it's just that they get complacent. Maybe it's, those are the people that just get used to the rules. These are just the rules. The confines that I have to live by. But then there's people, and a lot of people that I know are like this are entrepreneurs. They go out and they're just like, you know what? There's the rules if you want to follow them, but I'm just going to do this.
It's like following a pattern, following a certain pattern, and then you want to break away from that, do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people are starting to figure out or wanting to pursue in that, So, but yeah, you were saying that wasn't you. You didn't want to
Yeah.
do that. You wanted to kind of break away and do your thing, right?
Yeah, I just believe it's because some people just don't really set a certain goal for themselves. So they don't even think about it sometimes, you know? So they just kind of go along with whatever they're doing. But from a young age, I set myself goals, you know? So I was like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to get there. This is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now that you're the boss and you have, do you have people under you or people that work for you?
So at the moment, I don't have any barbers. My mom works here with me. I don't like to consider myself a boss since I do get contractors, which are, you know, barber that rent the chairs. So they're considered self-employed too. So I'm giving them the opportunity to consider themselves self-employed because I'm not, you know, they're paying me to work here. I'm not paying them. You know what I mean? So as of right now, I should maybe be having someone starting off on the 18th, hopefully. I'm hoping. But as of right now, it's just me and my mom.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. And so when you're thinking about your plans on your business, like, do you look at it like, okay, 5 years down the road, I want to do this, or do you just kind of take it day by day? What's your approach on that?
Not day by day. I definitely like to plan out what I want to do like later on in the future. I mean, I have tons of plans. There's a lot of things that I would like to accomplish. I don't set myself a time limit. Sometimes in my head, I'm trying to like rush myself into like doing certain things, but then I forget. I'm like, wait, I'm 25. Like, what am I doing? Like, just take your time.
For sure.
That's great advice, actually.
So I just, you know, I set myself goals of what I want to do, but I don't have a time frame. So I'm hoping that if I can get it done soon, great. If not, you know, I'm just going to take my time.
So what would be from the many goals you set for yourself, what could you say would be the main one, like the biggest of them all?
What would be the biggest one of all would be owning my own school.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice,
that's cool.
And I've seen some videos of you teaching some seminars too, right?
Yeah.
So how's that?
I've taught at my very first barber battle. So that was nice. I have taught at a couple of schools. So, you know, that kind of set me up to like teach in front of a big crowd because it was a really big crowd at the barber battle.
Yeah, in Vegas, right?
Is it Vegas?
Not Vegas. It was actually in Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Battle of the Barbers.
So that's a lot around here. I remember the Battle of the Bands. That sounds
That's what I'm saying too.
Wow.
Let's talk about that because it's really interesting to me, and I've talked to you, Brett, about this. That you have Comic-Con, right? There's Barber Cons now, so it feels like there's a shift in the barber game now to where it's becoming more popular to where you're seeing a lot more barbershops here, just kind of appear here in Everett. Because I moved here in 07. There was a few, but not as much as I see now in comparison to now.
Yeah.
And it's really obvious that there's more growing, like where there's definitely just different shops you can go try out, but there's certain ones where you just, you know, you go to, that's your go-to place. But, you know, going back to the Barber Cons and the Battle of the Barbers, what was your first experience like going to one of them, and which one was it?
It was actually Battle of the Barbers.
Okay.
It was the first annual one. It was 2 years ago, I believe. And I just went, not even trying to compete at all. Like, I just kind of went to go see what it was all about. And then one of the judges approached me. He's from Yakima. They call him Trill Cuts.
Trill Cuts.
And
Shout out to Trill Cuts.
right? I always have to mention him. So like he came up to me, you know, super friendly guy, and he's just like, "Hey, you competing today?" Like I was like, "No, I'm just here to watch." He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We need more women competing. Like you need to get in on this." So I was like, all right, if you can find me a model and you can find me someone to let me borrow their clippers, then I'm in. So he took that as a challenge.
Wow.
Like he went around, he found me a model, but he still couldn't find someone to let me borrow their stuff because other people were competing as well. And then that's when a friend of mine from Linwood, which his name is Alexis from Culture Barber Studio.
Okay.
May he rest in peace because he just passed away not too long ago. But yeah,
sorry.
he came in and he had told me, he's like, my model didn't show up. So he's like, do you want to borrow my clippers? And I was like, yep, I got them.
Wow.
So maybe like 10 minutes before the category started, I got the clippers, I got the model, and then bam, just went for it, you know? Ended up taking third place. So
Nice.
Man, that's crazy.
It's like almost it was destined to be, you know, like, you know, it's
Yeah,
like
that's-
showcase your skills. Let's do it, you know? Why not?
It seems like that's kind of what your life is just the opportunities present themselves.
Yeah, it feels-
and
that's what it
you're
seems
just,
like.
You just go in, even when there's everything like the universe is telling you not to, or that
Yeah.
you shouldn't, or that you can't. You're like, nah.
No, I'm gonna do it. That's important though to do because it's like that first step to. It's like always the hardest, and you know people just tend to back off of it. But you just.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was super nervous. I was literally shaking. Like I was lining up the guy, my model, with a razor, and I was literally shaking. And he's like, "Are you all right? You're not gonna cut me?" I was like, "No."
Man. Yeah, I hope everybody listening that
Yeah.
find yourself in that situation where you can, but everything is saying not to.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to this message because
Yeah,
this
it's
is
important.
so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just believe that when opportunity presents itself, you have to take it.
Important. That's
It comes
true.
in many forms,
That's
so
true.
you just got to take it. Go for it.
Yeah.
But I can see from here, you actually you got a collection of trophies. So this says a lot. You know what I'm saying? So
we
it's
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Hey, just say.
8 trophies. 8 trophies.
Yeah.
And
me and Brett only
you've been
got
do-
like effort.
And you've been playing the game for 3 years, and you've got 8 trophies already.
Yeah, so I've been competing for actually a year.
Oh my
Damn.
All in 1 year?
Yeah,
Man.
yeah we got to toast to that. That's important. That's important. Yeah, that's awesome. A year only, man.
Wow. Powerhouse.
For sure. Speaks volumes. Yeah, it's interesting to see that. I would be curious. I mean, maybe we can do one where we go and check it out. You know, go to a Barber Con or you know just to see how it is. You know,
Yeah.
And maybe we can bring the setup and just interview different people, right?
What are some like? Okay, we thought it would be funny. Sometimes with this podcast, you know, I'm kind of the zany one. I'm the one that kind of does the things that kind of could get anybody in trouble. So we didn't get to do it, but I was like, what if she puts like MAGA or something on the side of my head?
Make America.
You know, just something crazy, something that should get you in trouble. You know, but
It's like do something that represents me well.
But do you ever have anything where somebody comes in and does something that's just totally left field that you're kind of like, because you know you got to be professional because they might be serious,
Yeah.
right? And so have you ever done that where maybe you are on the front end of a new trend, or have you?
New trend. Well, I did have to like give some guy this really different haircut that I had never done before for sure. It was kind of like really short on the sides, but he wanted like a long bang on the side of the hair.
Yeah.
That was really different for me. And then there's another one where it's like completely shaved on the sides and then a one on top, like really short, but not blended in. Like it was just a hard line. He literally looked like he had like a little cap on the top of his head. And I'm like, are you sure, you know, you want this? He's like, oh yeah, I get this all the time. I'm like, oh, okay. Like in my head, I'm like, please don't tell people I did it.
You didn't get it from me, right?
Don't tag me on social media.
I was like, no.
All right, so the MAGA thing, you don't want me to tag you with.
No, please. I mean, I'll do it, you know? Money talks, but.
That's good. But, no, the worst haircut I ever got, I was about 9 years old, and you know, one of the main chains, right? And I went in, and normally it was, you know, I was parting it to the side. You know, I was like an angel when I was a kid, and so. All of a sudden, the lady, it was like, I don't know, I think it was just getting really close to her smoke break because she was just not focusing at all. And she just went so short on the left side of my head. And I started freaking out. Like, no, that's too short. You've already, you know. And so then, so now I'm freaking. I'm crying in this chair, right? 9-year-old Brett. And so then the manager has to come out. And she goes, all right. Cracks her knuckles. I've got a haircut for you. It's called the LA side spike. A lot of kids are doing this one.
LA side spike?
Yeah.
How do you look this up? How do you
so she kept it all short on this side, and she spiked it all up, and then let me part it to the side.
What?
At 9 years old, dude, and I had to go to school like that because I let her lie to me.
What was the reaction?
I had no play for the next 3 years because no one forgot about that. No one.
LA side spike.
LA side spike.
You need to look that up. We're gonna post that on the Instagram page before.
You should give me an LA side spike. That's what we'll do. We'll bring back and we'll see if we can start this thing.
Trendsetter.
Only on the tip touch.
Hashtag. I'm curious to see how it looks.
I hope I don't take your business totally down.
I don't want recognition for that one.
But I mean, some of those, that's the thing. That's where I learned. I learned at that moment, it's so important to have someone who is good that you can trust, because that is a trusting relationship. When you're sitting in that chair, that is something that you have to wear for the next 2 weeks to a month, depending on how frequently you do it.
For sure.
But, and you can mess up. And but talk about some of the relationships you have with some of your clients.
I actually have quite a few clients that are trying to get into the rapping industry. So I like to show a lot of support for my clientele, because when they come in here and get haircuts, they show me support by giving me business. So I like giving back in any way that I can. So like I have customers that, do car shows that, like you guys are, podcasts, and then the guys that rap. So when these guys, put out their music, I definitely like to share their music with other people. I've had the opportunity to go to one of their concerts as well down in Seattle at Eden, which his name is Nate Tactics. And then, I got another client, Guada. He does a really great music. Young Bree also, he's another one. Heezy Bars, and
these are all your clients?
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to them. Yeah, shout them out too.
You are like
to.
sought after, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's all about
the trophies speak for themselves, y'all.
That's also it's an important thing when you were saying about networking too. That you were telling me when I was getting a haircut that you kind of felt like you had to be more social in a way. That you weren't like social before, but now you kind of had to change it up a little bit if you wanted to network with different people.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a really shy person. I'm not very talkative. I've had to learn that along the way. I've been cutting hair for almost 10 years, so just the fact that I'm barely learning how to like talk to people, it's insane to me, because back then I used to think I don't really have to talk to these people. Like they're just coming in for a haircut, Until I started getting complaints about people saying, "Oh, she doesn't really talk that much. Like the haircuts are good, but I actually wanted to conversate too." And I'm like, "Wait, but why should that matter?"
Yeah.
It matters to these people.
Yep.
So if you want to progress in your business, you're gonna instead of getting offended, you're gonna take these things as something to work on. So I definitely have been trying to work on that for sure.
So you listened to the advice. A lot of people, if they, their ego gets the best of them, they'll blame the other people for wanting to talk or something. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's definitely, because I feel like just speaking as a person that when they get a haircut, it's kind of awkward, like just sitting there and there's no talking going around. Then I'm like, is it me? Or you know what I'm saying? And I start tripping out. You know what I'm saying?
So I start smelling my armpit, when she's not looking.
So a question of mine: has there ever been a time where you personally made a mistake on somebody's haircut?
There has been like about 2 times where I've messed up on 2 people. One of the times, it was when I first started cutting hair. Like it was when I first started like realizing that people got lineups, in the forehead.
Yeah.
And it was a kid, at least it wasn't an adult, but poor kid, I probably...
This is my story. It's me.
It was a 9-year-old kid, I'm sure. And I'm lining him up, and I start pushing him back right here in the corners. And the mom comes over, and she's like...
receding hairline.
It's like, is that right? Like you're like looking at her.
Mom comes over, and she's like, why does my son look like a vampire? Honestly, I wanted to laugh, but I just didn't know what to say at that point. I'm just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't, like, obviously I knew what happened. I'm like, I knew what happened.
Man,
He was moving, I don't know.
Kid goes to school with a cul-de-sac on his head.
So you just had, like a deep U in the forehead, So I was like, I don't know. And second time, I haven't really, messed people up, I'd say, because most of the time it's always fixable. Mm-hmm. Second time, I was, blending in the hair, and there's these number guards that you put on your clipper, and my guard fell off. So it fell off, and I ended up taking like a chunk of hair off in the back of the neck, and I was just like, honestly, like I have a really good poker face, so I kept my face straight. And
I love it.
Like in my head, I'm like, okay, how am I gonna fix this? Like figure this out. So I ended up, going shorter on the sides and blending it all in, just because thankfully the hair that I took out was kind of low, so I ended up just blending all that in. And he didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say anything.
Oh, that's good.
He ended up paying me, giving me a good tip, and went on his way.
So let's talk about that. Tips are something that can be a little bit weird, right? Is there for someone who is, because a lot of people just go to these chain, whatever, and they want to go into the barber, but that's sort of a thing that can kind of be weird for people, like, what's the appropriate amount to tip? So what is the etiquette and the appropriate?
I feel like it all depends on culture, to be honest, because there's a lot of people that are not used to tipping because it's not in their culture. They weren't raised to tip. Because, as Hispanics don't really tip, but it's not necessarily it's something that they didn't grow up with, especially like my family. Like my family's really poor. So, they didn't grow up really tipping people. That's something that they kind of grew up knowing here.
Sure. So
I personally don't get offended when someone doesn't tip me. I'm like, as long as you bring me more customers and you return to me every time, that's a win for me.
That's good.
Because there's people that are very generous. There's people that, give me $1, $2. Anything to me is acceptable. But, here in the U.S., it's a standard that, a good tip is anywhere from 10 to 20%. So, that's the standard. Okay. But, I personally feel like it's not necessarily something that you have to do. If you're feeling generous, go ahead. If it's not something you're accustomed to do, why should you, I believe.
Sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, cool.
So, in the realms of you making mistakes, can you tell us what is maybe today still one of the hardest haircuts to do on your end? Like, what is one of them that you just feel like you haven't perfected, that you still want to improve on, but you're still going at it?
That's because for every haircut you could always get better, of course. But I feel like if I had to work on anything, it's not necessarily a specific haircut. It would more be like just doing more designs. So I want to get into doing, more elaborate designs for sure. That's something I want to get better at.
You remind me of something when you say that, because what I love about you is that you're willing to be honest with everybody. And I was looking through your Instagram page, and you had done like a flower, a rose. And I thought that was so cool, because I said, man, who has enough guts to say, hey, this is obviously something I'm working on, I'm getting better or whatever, but man, you threw it out there, and it made me appreciate the fact that you're letting everybody know, hey, there's limits, but also, give me some time, because I bet you in a year from now, that same flower.
I actually just posted one yesterday night, so I attempted a second time a rose, and I worked out what I could have done better. So it's definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
I saw the eye though. That was sick. I was like, dang, that's good. She posted one of like an eye on the back. It turned out really good, man. So everybody check her Instagram out. Good work.
Wow,
for sure. And another thing that I want to ask you is I have a story behind it, and this is why I want to ask it. So, barbers are now shifting to where you go to appointments now, only by appointments. and they're not accepting any walk-ins. And I'm just gonna say that it was one time I went to a barber shop. I didn't know they were by appointments only. I didn't know that. And I walked in, and this gentleman was sitting there. He didn't have anybody in the chair. And I asked him, like, hey, is it cool if I get a haircut? And he's like, oh, well, we're only by appointment. And I literally stood there and kind of just, everybody was busy besides him. He wasn't cutting nobody's hair. And I'm like, okay, so I guess you don't want my business then, right? And I honestly got a little bit kind of like angry, like, so you're not, like, I'm willing to pay you to cut my hair. And that was that. And I just walked out. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just in my business somewhere else. So you being in the business, that's where it's shifting to? Like, if you were in that same situation, would you cut the person's hair, or would you just be like, I'm only by appointment,
So let's say I don't have any appointments set for that time. I will take them, because, why not? I have nobody for that time. But there's days where I'm pretty much booked every day, all day. So it's kind of rare when I do have an appointment available, and then you just have to be lucky to walk in right at that time. So when people walk in and I tell them I'm appointment only, and it's happened to me where I'm like sitting, I'm literally waiting for my next appointment. And I've had people get mad at me. They're like, well, you're not doing anything. I'm like, yeah, it may not look like I'm not doing anything, but I am actually waiting for my next appointment. We should be here in a few minutes. And sometimes they're like, well, what if I wait? Kind of not believing me. I'm like, you can go ahead and wait, but I can't guarantee you that I can take you in today, so then they just walk off. But I feel like for me personally, appointments have been a lot better than taking walk-ins, only because before, when I used to take walk-ins when I first opened, it got to the point where I was really, really busy. And the waiting time for the customers was 2 to 3 hours. So you'd have to wait 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
And then, I had my set closing time at 7. But when you're taking walk-ins and someone walks in at 7:30 and there's still people waiting in line, you got to let them in because you're walk-ins. You're not appointments. So
okay.
It's ethical to still take them in. So that means even though you closed at 7, you wouldn't end up leaving until like 8:30 at night. Also because, let's say I wanted to take a break, I would have to tell people like, hey guys, sorry, I'm going to take a quick lunch break. And these people, like at one time, some guy, he's like, but I had been waiting for 2 hours and you're about to take a break now?
Wow.
Like right before me?
They don't even get it.
It's like, come on, man. Like you have no idea how long I've been working. Like I'm hungry. Like I gotta eat.
Wow.
So like this guy just like gets up and leaves. So like I would get a lot of people, feel uncomfortable when I would, take a lunch break. So there was like little things like that kind of made me switch over. Also because you just felt that pressure of people just staring at you from waiting so long, like pretty much like giving you that eye, like hurry up,
Yeah, for sure.
So when I switched over to the appointments, it was a lot easier for me to like set myself a lunch break. It's easy. It's great because I get to leave on time, every day. I can like cancel on people in case of an emergency.
For sure.
As rather like telling people to just leave my shop because I have an emergency, so I would have to kick people out. And with appointments, I just send them a quick message through the app that I have for booking appointments, and it cancels it for them. And, I can give them an explanation or not, and then they could just reschedule right away.
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I like that, we live in this time where everything is on demand. I want to order some food. I'll just go to whatever that...
Uber Eats?
Yeah, something like that, and just order it. And so our culture is changing and adapting to that. So then when you have something where you have to coordinate and schedule and plan ahead, it kind of throws people off. Like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
But it's also good. I love the fact that you put the human factor behind it, that you are a real person. You're not a robot, and that's what I think we're so used to, is we're used to robots doing everything. You have your lunches. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I kind of realized that I got to not let the business take over me. I got to take over the business. So I was kind of letting the business take over me. And I wasn't, getting enough, lunch break time. I wasn't, I guess I wasn't leaving on time like I should have. You know, my husband, like, we'd have plans, and my husband would be like, "When are you coming home?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not out yet." You know, like I couldn't really have plans.
Yeah.
Like now, as of now, like I can make more plans at a certain time because I'll know I'll be leaving right on time.
Mm-hmm. Do you do beards and all that here?
Yeah, I do everything.
You do the straight razor?
Straight razor.
Oh,
Hey, come on! Look at this masterpiece. That's a masterpiece right here.
I do facials. I do
Brett wants a
razor
facial.
Razor shaves, black mask. I do eyebrows. You know, I do it all.
Wow.
Men's color, everything.
Huh.
The whole deal.
What is a facial? I have one image in my head. What is a facial?
Not that kind.
Sorry. He said it.
Whoa! That's when we locked eyes. Man,
No way.
Yeah. I'm also curious too. Like, so it's.
No, I want to know what a facial is.
I'm asking too. That's why I'm curious to know too. Yeah.
It's actually, you know, to cleanse the face. Also, you know, to clean out the pores as well. And it's just more like for relaxing, you know, it's for pampering. So like, you know, like you get a massage as well, you know, a face massage, and it helps to circulate the blood in the face. You know, it just helps to give more of a glow to the face as well. You know, it's just it's pampering.
Okay.
Have you ever got a straight razor shave on you?
Never. No. Now
Dude,
that I know,
you should-
because
you should
there's
do it.
not really a lot of places that I know of where you can go and
Not
get
really.
that.
Yeah, only barbershops that I know of, like barbershops in general, they usually do that. So I mean, but there's people that
The
are really
one
good
I
at
was
it.
going to, I was growing my beard last year, and I had it like down
He had
there.
a pretty long beard. Yeah,
But he did not do the straight at all. And
he said he messed. Tell that story how you messed it
no,
up.
man. Okay. I feel bad because this is like really shame on me. So I went up to I'm getting this beard. I'm growing this beard, and I haven't grown a beard in a while. And finally, it got to the point where I just looked homeless all the time. And you know, even my daughter, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to go to Funko or somewhere, you know, silly?" And she's like, "Nah." You know, and finally, it was like, well, you know, you're always wearing the sweater, and the beard's going everywhere. And so finally, I knew, okay, it's time to get some professional help. So I live up north. I live north of Everett, and I found a local barber, and I said, okay, I'm gonna check him out. You know, so again, he was by appointment. So I'm like, okay, that's new. That sucks. You know? And so I get in, I come in, and you know, he's like, okay, what are you trying to do? And I'm like, listen, I don't even know. You know, so I go in and I get my hair, styled in a way. You know, we're definitely getting the sides off. I look like Wolverine. You know, just and but anyway, so I look less homeless, right? But I got home and I'm like, is it that a little longer on that side? It seems like. So I tried to fix it myself, right? And so I was trying to go straight down. Well, with this side, I kind of went in a little bit, like kind of followed the contour of my chin. And oh no. And so I'm like trying to puff it out with a comb, you know? And then finally I was like, I'm going to have him fix it. And then, so I go, hey man, can I get this thing fixed? And then what was because there was beef there. There was something.
You're like, see what you did, but you messed it up. But you blamed it on him.
I messed it up, and I didn't want to get charged another fee. So I was like, dude, look what you did to my beard, bro.
No, look, I didn't do that. It was you that messed it up.
That's what he said. He goes, I never cut a beard like that. That's not something I would do. No, bro, you did it. That was you. And it got really bad. Like, I escalated it. And that's one problem that I have in life is that, you know, if someone breaks out fists, I'm breaking out chairs, you know? And I'm trying to work on that.
You were in too deep. You're like, no return.
Yeah.
Not coming back.
So it took me, I think, 2 months to get it fixed. But he did. He took me in. But he actually sat me down and talked to me just about, you know, like, man, you know, he knew that I wasn't, it's just like, and so I felt indebted to him at that point. So then I'm like, all right, I'm just going to come to you, whatever. And like, so I eventually had to shave my beard because my wife does not like me having a beard. She's out of the country right now, so I can get away with it. But anyway, so we had a good talk, but he really taught me a lot about, for one, etiquette, be good, the human factor, what you're talking about. He taught me a lot about that, and that's just in general. I mean, that was just me being kind of a shitty person, And I told Eddie about that too.
I started cracking up.
Man, I went in.
I was like laughing hysterically.
I get crazy sometimes.
So, when you were saying about when you were at your first competition, your friend was like, "Hey, we should have you up there and compete because there's not really many female barbers doing this." So, you being a female in the game, do you feel like you have to prove yourself even more? Like being that, I mean, it's mostly guys running, a lot more than females, right? Barbering in the game. So, do you feel like you have to prove yourself more?
I definitely do. Not necessarily just in, competitions and being around other barbers, but definitely just working in general. Because they look at you and they're, you're a woman and they automatically think you suck,
Wow.
They automatically think that, you should probably be working at sports clips or master cuts.
You're good, bud burn.
That's the cigar burn to the cheek right there.
I've had, I've even had people come into my own shop and, tell me where all the barbers at. And I'm like, you're looking at them.
Really?
And they're like, no, the men.
Welcome to 2019, fool.
I'm like, I was just like, I got a little offended. I kept my cool because I did want to blow up on this guy and like curse him out. But I was just like, women can be barbers too, right? And he's like, oh, I know, I'm not trying to offend you, but like, men are barbers. You give off a Supercuts vibe. He literally told me that. And like my blood was boiling.
Oh man!
Like,
I bet you were just gripping those scissors really tight, like, oh, dude, I'm gonna jab you right in the neck, dude.
Wow.
I was
like,
so mad. I was so mad. But I kept my cool, and I was just like, you know what? I was like, you can go ahead. Like I pretty much told him to like go. I named like 2 other barbershops. I'm like, you can go here. There's plenty of men for you to choose from there. So it's like,
yeah, but then you give them a heads up, like, hey,
but yo, mess this thing up, right? All right,
yeah.
I was just like, as long as he doesn't come back, I don't need that kind of negativity out here.
For sure.
I mean, I've even had phone calls of people like calling and be like, "Is there any male barbers there?" And it's like, Jesus.
I had no idea.
Because it's pretty mind-blowing.
I guess, I'm so used to, as you stated, the great Eclipse vibe. I like it. I go in and, I am able to converse with anyone. I've never ever thought of a barber being a man thing. In fact, when the barber thing, the culture's changed. What I always thought a barber was, you go in and you get the super basic haircut that everybody gets, the same. I didn't think of anything being like where nowadays, like, this is an art. It's a true art form, and it's awesome. I love it. It's unique. It's powerful. Speaks volumes. But I never once thought that it would be like a competition between men and women, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow,
it's real on the streets, man. It's crazy. That's crazy. Are there any barbers that you look up to that inspire you to just go that extra step, or that go that extra mile that you look like in the industry?
So for in the industry, like, there's several barbers that I pick certain like qualities from them that I like to look after. Like, for example, a barber here in Everett, Mr. He's just really great at, going out and doing things for himself. Like, he goes and does the things that he wants to do. So, I look after that. So, like, that's what I've been starting to do. I actually once personally reached out to him before I actually got to meet up, like, get to know him. and asked him some questions about like how he does it. So, he gave me some advice. And there's another barber, my friend that had passed away, Alexis. He was always very positive. So he would always be like, help others, try to lift others up.
Absolutely.
And so I definitely took that from him. So whenever I see, barbers come up to me and be like, wow, you're so great. Like, I'm trying to work on this, trying to work on that. Like, I try to help in whatever way that I can, I try to lift them up, try to tell them that, experience, it comes with time, to not give up, to, keep going, that they're doing great. We all sucked at one point. So I was not great when I first started. So, I just tell them to be patient with themselves.
Wow.
Just like another barber, he's a really big barber. His name is Rob the Original. He's mostly known for designs. So I'm trying to get to
and he's
his
in Everett?
level. No. He's in Texas. So like he doesn't know who I am.
He will soon.
He has no idea who I am.
Yet.
Yeah.
I just look at his stuff on Instagram.
Wow.
So he has about like over 1 million followers on Instagram. So I've met him at 2 barber battles already. But other than that, like I look at his work on Instagram all the time, and he does portraits on people's heads. So
No.
like
Yeah, there's some dude. When it gets crazy good, like with people out here.
Yeah, he does.
How much does something like that cost?
I have no idea.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I would think for sure above the hundreds for sure, guaranteed.
Yeah, he even does designs on like animals and stuff. Like he goes and does designs on horses for a really famous Mexican mariachi artist in Mexico.
Oh my.
So he gets flown
Wow,
out.
you're blowing my mind right now. This is awesome. Wow.
So I'm like trying to be at his level. Like I want to do designs like that. So I'm definitely trying to, get more people to let me do some nice art on them for sure.
It's kind of ties in. Our last guest that we had was a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And we
Shout
were
out to Luis.
talking. Yeah, we were talking about the challenge that with this channel, what we're trying to do is raise $10,000, and I've got quite the carpet rug on. and so he's, the deal is I think what $10,000. He's going to tattoo
you said
a
$10,000.
bear on me, and I was going to shave everything around it. But if you get to that level, you can give the bear some depth.
Nice little fade.
Sorry, you'll never have anyone ever approach you on that again. Oh, wow. That's crazy, though. That's crazy. But it is. It reminds me of, like, tattoos when you're doing all that kind of stuff. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. So on animals, too?
Yeah,
That's
just
insane.
animals.
How do you get that? How do you sit there and you're like, yeah, I could probably use these clippers and probably get that, you're looking at that thing. And I mean, boy, you've got
That's crazy.
really
no, but
good.
you see this work and you're just kind of, speaking to yourself like, dang, with the clippers too. It's a challenge. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, you got to see it for yourself to believe it,
Yeah.
Yeah. What's cool about what you were saying that about, you helping out other people. Was it yesterday, a couple of days ago when I got my hair cut? There was a person here who was a rapper, right?
Yeah.
And you were talking about you were giving him some advice on what he should do on his Instagram page, I think. I just overheard a little bit. I didn't want to be like a nosy person but in the conversation. But he was talking about how you were telling me that he had a show the other day too, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool on her end to, school him up on some game. Like, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, I'll show your stuff. And that's what it's coming down to, networking. And it's an important role to where I feel like if we want to elevate, we got to help each other out too. You know what I'm saying? Like repost here, repost there, like this, comment under this, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool to have. I think that's so awesome that we're seeing a lot of that now.
Yeah, his name is El Bandido on Instagram. He had just had a show at Tony V's Garage here in Everett. I was just pretty much because he's got a pretty great following for sure, so he's pretty well known here in the area. But one thing I noticed that he doesn't really post a a lot of videos of him actually performing. Like I was like, unfortunately I couldn't go to his show because I was like, I'm pregnant, like I don't want to be around that environment right now. So I'm like, I get annoyed at drunk people very easily when I'm sober. Of course.
I gotta be a little tipsy too.
When I'm at their level, it's all good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but the baby kind of, got in the way now.
So I was just like, for, some of us that won't be at your show, it'd be a great idea to, have a media guy, record you as you're on stage and just post videos on your story, not necessarily his actual Instagram, because that would be a lot of content, but just on his story itself. And then people could just like look through it, and that way people that have never even seen him perform can watch it and potentially even want to go to his next show,
For sure.
Wow.
It kind of goes the same way with you when you do your footage too as well, so people could see, who you are and the work that you do, and just kind of what you can provide for people that are looking for a good haircut, or even if they want to even get a design. Because we'll talk off air, but I want to get something on me because I'm going to go to a Comic-Con, so I want to see if you could do something for me, but just because it would be something cool to do,
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying though, it's almost the same thing to where you want to, get a lot of content out there so they can really see who you are, at these barber battles or just, whatever you're doing. And that's pretty cool that you're doing that. Like we were talking about the drone footage and all that, the videos that we were seeing. I'm like, man, this is crazy. It gets pretty cool when it comes to doing that.
Yeah, you definitely got to be next level sometimes, show people.
If you, and that's the thing, like, hopefully we can somewhat stay in touch through this, and then if you see anything that we're not doing right on the podcast,
for sure,
let us know.
Let us know.
Put us on blast.
I mean, there's and these are things that I've learned, not like off other people, like the advice I give to people is advice that I was given as well. So like I've been on a podcast once before, so this is my first one, but definitely I always tell people, I want people to like do better. Yeah. So if they're willing to take, constructive criticism, I'm willing to give that to them. And, they either take it or they leave it. That's up to them. But, I just want to see everyone do better for sure. Yeah. Like whenever someone tells me some constructive criticism, I usually try to incorporate it or take it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we were talking about earlier, how you had listened to the advice and got better from it.
And a lot of people take it too. A lot of people get offended almost the way, right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's hard. It's embarrassing to be told, oh, well, you're not doing that right, But if you can just work past that, that's an opportunity of growth.
For sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I kind of like get mad a little bit, but then I start thinking about it. Usually it takes me about a day to process, and then I start reflecting on it, and I'm just like, okay, like maybe I should change that. Like maybe I should, be, pay attention to more to things like that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I don't want to take any more time. I know that you've already allowed us an hour, and your this is awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much for having us here. Did you have anything else?
No, that is it. I want to say thank you for letting us come over and do this, because I think it's really important going just to the broad messages is being able to network with each other and just lifting each other up. And we definitely wouldn't mind even coming back here in a couple of years to see how far we've both gone. By then maybe we'll have a cool studio. By then, like,
dang.
Yeah. Or come in for some skits. We could do some skits along the way too.
Like that mega skit.
Yeah. We don't have to do that one. Maybe we can do the bear.
Hey, maybe next time, I can. I'll improve on my design skills, so I'll be able to do something pretty cool too.
Yeah, maybe I could get a sweet design on one side of my head and then LA side spike on the top.
Awesome. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Let everyone know where they can find you, and if you're selling your shirts, this is your time to
give out your info and all that.
You could find me on Instagram, Trippy Barber. On Facebook, our business page is the Maine Barber Society. My business is here in Everett. It's on Evergreen Way. It's right next to a restaurant called Curry's. near Ross and Wells Fargo.
Yeah. Yeah, Starbucks. There's a Starbucks.
Starbucks. I'm just gonna start naming all the stores.
There's a guy that sits on the corner with a cardboard sign. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for having us here at your home. This is cool.
Yeah.
It's still under construction right now, so part of the.
It's going all good.
I think that's the character. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so there's eight trophies up right now. Soon to be, I'm sure,
50.
We can only hope.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so thank you again for having us over. For everybody listening, you can check us out now. We are officially on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Tune FM Radio. We have our video content on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Tip Touch Podcast for more exclusive updates of what we have coming out. Thank you for everybody that's been following so far. Thank you, and check us out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.